Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. I'm back. Today is Sunday, August 3rd. We're right in the midst of round battling like crazy people. So, what's today's topic going to be with it being a Sunday? Well, I thought that we'd talk about making sure you get enough rest. And usually Sunday's a day of rest, right? For most people, or it should be. But you need to, as business owners, as people that work for a business, you have to get your rest and you have to find time for it. And that's what today's episode is going to be all about. So stay tuned. Alrighty, welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric. If you didn't already know it, yes, this is the weekend. The weekday is Monday through Friday, but on the weekend I can go off the rails. But I'm not really going off the rails because I've been off on a little hacienda, whatever you want to call it. I feel like I've been working harder than I do when I do my videos. But you need to, resting and finding rest and a peace is not a weakness. And, you know, the best thing I can tell you is do as I say and not as I do. I used to work 7 days a week, and I still pretty much do that to this day. But you need to find time to where you can just slow things down. You know, if you work all week, you play hard, you work hard, you play hard, right? So if you work all week, Monday through Friday, and then you get the weekend, and then you're got 110 things going on the weekend, you're not really getting any rest, are you? And that's the key is when you're rested and refreshed, things look totally different than if you're fighting it all the time. And that goes as far as the shop goes. You need to step away from the shop sometimes to get a better perspective of what's going on and what's taking place. If you're getting a number of redos, there's a reason for it, and you need to find it and take care of it. Whether it's a lack of communication from the owner talking to the customer about what they wanted and then not relaying it completely to the mechanic. So when the mechanic gets done and the customer is not happy because whatever they wanted addressed didn't get addressed, that's where we start having problems, right? A lot of times I have Claude come right up front and talk and ask questions of the customer so that they're on the same page. Because what ends up happening is a lot of times, not on purpose, but things get omitted, right? You hear a customer talk about X, Y, and Z, and you hear X, Y, but the Z you didn't think was that important, so you don't relay it on, right? So, with having time away from the shop, it gives you a chance to get a better perspective of where is your weakness, where are your strengths, and then you want to work a little bit on both. But the thing is, you want to shore up your weaknesses because that's where you're going to have catastrophic events. But in saying that, you need to have downtime. I don't care, whether you're the owner or the worker. If you don't have downtime, weeks will start running into months and months into years. And it's like Groundhog Day. That movie where you get up and you're doing the same thing and you're saying, it's like deja vu, right? I've already done this before. And you start getting into like a robotic thing of where you're just going through the motions. By taking that one day off, and don't fill it with gotta go here, gotta go there, do this and do that, whether it's playing softball, water skiing, it's all what you would deem as pleasurable stuff, right? But it still classifies the same thing as work in a sense, is that you're not truly resting. Sometimes you just have to slow down and just sit down and have a nice cup of coffee or an afternoon beer if that's what your pleasure is. But you need to find that quiet time so that your mind is going all the time. And your body will wear out just like your mind, just like your body does. Your mind will wear out. And if you're not careful, you'll get burned out. And you hear a lot of people say, that they're burned out. When you're truly burned out, you just physically and mentally cannot go any farther. You hit a brick wall and you just, whether it's if you're a writer, writer's block is one. Whether you're a mechanic and you just come to where things should be easy, but they're not because you're pushing through. Like on Sundays. Sundays are normally the day of rest. All right, that's the Lord's day. And for a good reason, it's to let the body just slow down and only do what is necessary. When you're farming is 7 days a week. But normally on Sundays, if you're milking cows like we did, we milked the cows, get them fed up, and that was it for the day. Whether we go visit the kids, grandparents and stuff like that. But to me, that was even more tiring because it seemed like when the kids were young, we had all these things that we had going on. And I was more tired from the weekend of doing those things than I was during the week working, if that makes any sense. So if you're doing that, it's very similar to working 7 days a week. You're constantly, and you lose track of yourself and time, I guess is the way to put it. But in the comments, you guys, what do you do to just slow down? Where is your secret place that you can just kind of spaz out and get refreshed so when Monday morning rolls around, you're refreshed and you're ready to go and you're looking forward to it. For me, fishing has always been my out. And I don't look at it as being tiresome. I just enjoy being in the water, catching fish, releasing them because I don't keep them. But that in itself slows me down. It concentrates on just the moment of flipping that lure out or that night crawler harness or whatever jigging slows you down into the moment where you're not trying to think 2-3 hours down the road of what to get done next, right? You're in the moment where you're sitting there jigging and you're waiting to feel if a walleye hits it. Or a brook trout if you're up in, the Adirondacks where I fish. Or it could be a bass, smallmouth, largemouth. Whatever your forte is, get out and do it. But if you find that going fishing is more work than doing your workday stuff, it's hard because if you have young kids, that was the thing with my kids growing up, is that we always seemed to have a bunch of things planned for the weekend. And if we were going fishing, it was like this major event. It wasn't just me grabbing my pole and a few lures and walking the banks trout fishing. It's full on, gotta have camping stuff, gotta have the coolers, gotta get ice, gotta get this, gotta get... And you're tired out and you don't even have enough energy to go fish. So the kids fish, if you know what I'm saying. But looking back, it will start affecting your health. If you're not taking good care of yourself and getting rest, your body is going to tell you. And if you're not willing to listen to your body and push through like I normally do, you're going to pay for it one way or another. And that's what kind of happened, these past couple of weeks, is that my energy level kept getting less and less and less, and I was fighting just trying to come up with a topic that I thought would be interesting to you guys to know about, or to learn more, or to put up there so that you could comment on things that you do a certain way. So that's why I come back at you guys. I think it was Tuesday, and said I'm going to take a few days off, which I normally don't ever do unless I'm in the hospital, right? That was the last day off. But I normally do a morning post on Facebook in my group of friends. Then I usually do the YouTube video. Get them both, the YouTube video edited, the post up. And that's before I even start getting ready for the work day of going to work and working in the shop. Or as we're doing right now, because we've got a nice stretch of weather going through till I think it's Thursday. So I've been going down into our meadows at 5 a.m. and mowing until 8. That gives us 2 to 3 hours of baling every time I mow that much. And then I have been going down at noon to 2 and mowing more, and then baling from that point until we have everything baled that I put down on the ground the day before. So we're moving along pretty rapidly, because Claude, he runs the rake. So to me, it's the most important job out there is person running the rake, because the goal of the person on the rake is to make it for the guy baling, which is me, the least amount of passes. And I've got what they call a speed rake. I've actually got 3 rakes, but the main one that we use is a speed rake. And it takes 3 windrows, which are 3 cuts, and puts them all into one great big one, so that for every 3 passes I make with the mowing machine, I only have to make 1 pass with the rake and 1 pass with the baler. So you can move right along pretty fast. And I've got Big Bertha, which is a 5-foot by 5-foot baler. And the bigger the windrows, the better she likes it. My other round baler is a 4x4, 4-foot by 4-foot. And it's got a narrow pickup on it. And it's a pain in the backside if you're trying to do multiple windrows into one. So this year we've been pretty much relying on Big Bertha to do all the baling. And so far she's doing good. And that's what I'm doing today. At 5 o'clock, I'm headed down to mow until around 8:30. Claude will start raking around 10:30. And by 11:30, 12 o'clock, I'll be baling again until I have everything baled up for the day. So even as I'm telling you about taking a day of rest, I'm still not taking that day of rest. That's why I say do as I say and not as I do, or you're going to get tuckered out. Well, I'm hoping that we can get through this quickly, and then I'll have plenty of time this fall to kind of kick back and relax. I still got to cut firewood, but I'll take a thermos of coffee and go up into the woods and spend time blocking up, splitting firewood, and then bringing it out towards later in the fall after it's dried down some, put it in the woodshed for the shop. But I thought I'd just stick my head out and say hi and talk about the day of rest for today. And on that note, you guys have a great Sunday. Put in the comments what you're doing today. Are you relaxing, or are you got a whole list of things to do? So on that note, you guys have a great Sunday. We'll catch you here bright and early for the weekday tomorrow morning. Alrighty.